Let's move on here. Dan, what do you got for us this week, man?
Well, I've got a couple weird little oddities for you guys, and they're two Indonesian films. One of which is the best Terminator knockoff you've never seen. But before I get into that, so Indonesian exploitation and horror cinema first began to hit our shores in the late 70s into the 1980s, after a quota was put in place in 1977 that said for every homegrown film a studio made, they would receive a license for 5 imports in sought-after markets like Hollywood, China, and Australia. 1977 was a seminal boom year for the industry, with over 200 domestic films released. The new lure of foreign markets and government funding then enticed the industry to up their game, and studios Rapi Films, Soraya, Intercini, and Parkit answered the call, creating local superstars in Barry Prima, his wife at the time, Eva Arnaz, and the iconic Susanna, who reigned as Indonesia's top scream queen for decades and is very much just as important as Jamie Lee Curtis is for American audiences. With the industry stagnant for so long, however, there were a limited number of filmmakers that could actually helm a Hollywood-level genre picture. And at that point, enter H. Jute Jalil, who is a writer and actor for couple decades before he helmed Mystics in Bali, which was a real game changer. So Mystics in Bali follows an American woman who travels to Indonesia in an effort to unlock the mysteries of black magic. One fateful night, she encounters the terrifying Liak and makes a deal to become her disciple in exchange for learning the ways of her cult. So this is a really authentic film that's very faithful to the novel Liak Negak by Putra Made. And what makes Mystics so interesting is the inclusion of real Balinese rites and rituals, which caused a lot of issues in the country at the time, which is overwhelmingly Muslim, but the province of Bali is actually predominantly Hindu. So a lot of issues, particularly in this area, making this film. Aesthetically, this is a beautiful movie, really inventive, do-it-yourself effects, all practical, of course. You have hilarious dubbing. The lead villain kind of is like a demented female Yoda, which invokes a lot of laughter, but truthfully, this is actually a really well-made film. Up to this point, horror films in Indonesia were made specifically for an Indonesian audience, so there was a lot of what we would find odd slapstick humor and what have you that doesn't necessarily play as well. This one, I think, is a little more accessible and highly disturbing. I mean, there's portions you can laugh at, the pig monsters and some of the effects, but I mean, we have a floating head that sucks the blood out of unborn babies, out of the women. There's this particular sequence with that's like, oh, wow, that's crazy. And I really think this is perhaps the best Indonesian horror movie of the 80s. And I throw that out there because we're seeing a lot of Indonesian cinema that's becoming more and more kind of viable here, and it's a country that I feel is one to watch. I know Indian horror films are not always as accessible, but I think Indonesia is a country to watch out for going forward, because they are doing some really amazing films that I feel are just slowly starting to be recognized. And the thing with this movie too is I really suggest it because I get asked a lot, like, oh, I don't watch a lot of horror films overseas, outside of maybe Japan. And I think if you're gonna check one out, watch this. You may laugh at portions of it. You may, again, this is a film where the lead actress was just a German tourist that the producers saw on a beach and literally just asked her, "Do you want to star in our movie?" It's insane. She had no acting experience. She was never seen again. I assume she's okay, but I really love this film. The one I want to talk about, though, more so, because I think everybody loves a good Terminator knockoff. And this is the Terminator knockoff to end all Terminator knockoffs. And that is from the same director, 1988 film, Lady Terminator. So this one opens in 1889, where the evil and sexually ravenous Queen of the South Sea gets her jollies by castrating her male lovers with the eel creature who resides in her vagina. That's right, I picked a classy one tonight.
Wow.
When they after they fail to please her, of course, that's the penalty you pay. Until
Man.
So this is like teeth.
Kind of like teeth, but I would even say better than teeth. Until one fateful day, a local stud managed to pleasure her long enough to pull out the eel and turn it into a magical dagger, vanquishing her back to the sea. But not before she vows revenge on his great-granddaughter in 100 years. So at this point, this film jumps to present-day 1989, where Tanaya, a sexy anthropologist, naturally ignores the wise and mysterious old Asian man who tells her not to read from the ancient book. Of course, she ignores that. And she ends up becoming possessed by the queen. And for some unexplained reason, she comes back as a leather-clad cyborg. Not really explained. She's just a cyborg now, who mows down a motley crew of unfortunate locals in her quest to kill the pop singer descendant of her enemy. So this is a Terminator knockoff. Yes, it has the setup of a very different film. I mean, there wasn't any eel vaginal creatures in Terminator, but once we unfortunately, but once we get into it, this is a truly bonkers action film with the supernatural twist. There are scenes lifted directly from Terminator. It's so shameless. At one point, they even reference Arnold Schwarzenegger. Come with me if you want to live. The opening scene is copied. This was just like H. Ju Jaleel just said, screw it, I'm just gonna lift these scenes. It is also 80s mall culture on display in this. There are endless shootouts and chases. Big Crack Rock, you'll love it. It is any Grindhouse cult movie fan simply must see this movie. It also has the greatest ever one-off performance from a man named Adam Stardust, who plays Snake, a mullet-sporting, one-liner dropping commando who nearly steals the show in less than 10 minutes. It makes up its rules as it goes along. It is a wild and absolutely entertaining film. And there's a lot that went on behind the scenes in this, some pretty horrible things. Barbara Constantinople, who was an Australian penthouse pet who starred in the film as Lady Terminator, she nearly died in a boat accident. There was an actual extra, or actually crew member, who died on set when his head was run over and splattered right in front of her by a loading truck.
Wow.
Talk about cursed films. This had all sorts of horrible, crazy things happen. I don't know what the scene is like right now in Indonesia. I would imagine a little bit better, but not very kind to their stunt people. This movie's hilarious because for some reason, and I'm assuming it was on purpose, there was a lot of guys that get shot in the junk, a lot of bloody squirt to the junk, and there's so many drinking games you can play from this. Invite your friends over. I watched it again on a virtual sort of Zoom thing that I do with some friends, and everyone loved it. And these are more serious film fans, but it was a hit with everybody. So check this one out. Mystics in Bali is great. Lady Terminator, if you love just cheesy 80s action films, you simply must see it.
Listen, you had me at vagina eel.
Vagina eel.
As soon as you said that, it went into my cart on Amazon and it was instantly purchased. So it sounds incredible.
It is. It is. I hope it gets a Blu-ray. I know it's still DVD only, but Mondo Macabro put it out. Check it out. I'm actually surprised you found it in print. That's awesome.
It's hold on. It's on Amazon. Let me get the link for everybody if anybody's interested. This is the direct link to it on Amazon. It's the Mondo Macabro DVD.
Oh, nice.
It's only $15.
Oh, well, yes, you won't be disappointed. And I promise the next time I'm on, it'll be a Cassavetes film. I'll be really classy. No more vagina eels for me.
Who cares about Cassavetes?
I think it's funny. I like it.
Be sure to subscribe to the Region Free YouTube channel and also check out the Patreon to get exclusive content and become a Regionaire.